The Office of the Parliament celebrates International Women's Day 2023. DigitALL, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. It is a love that was nurtured from childhood. Her love for animals, but dogs in particular.
When I was 1 year old, I got a puppy for my birthday, Cindy, and the two of us grew up together. So from a very early age, I had animals. We grew up with cats, dogs. I would go out into the garden and play with the insects, the snails. My cousin Alan and I used to spend a lot of time playing with ants and studying them and really getting into their feelings. What do they feel when they go down in the hole? What is their house like? You know, we saw it from the perspective of children, but I grew up with that sensitivity for all living creatures, so that's how it started. I moved to Tobago in 2012, and around 2014, I adopted a puppy from the animal shelter. Not really planning to, but it just happened, and I called her Venus, and somehow from adopting her, a lot of animals just suddenly started being drawn to us. We did a lot of animal rescue together, fostered the animals together, and it just started. I started a Facebook page for Venus, the dog, but then in featuring the animals that we rescued, it gradually began to become an animal rescue Facebook page, which then evolved into an NGO. Venus Daughters of Love rescues animals in Tobago and also in Trinidad, but mainly in Tobago because this is where we're based. And we rehabilitate them, find homes for them. I wouldn't say that there were challenges in starting the NGO itself. That was just a process that we had to go through. But I think the challenges are what exists for animals in Tobago. The overpopulation, the lack of enforcement of laws, and the need for education, for animal welfare education, and also the need for Tobago as a tourism-focused island to really implement high animal welfare standards as a part of the tourism product. It's very important because so many tourists that I meet are almost devastated, but sometimes by the state of the animals that they see here on the streets, you know, the mange, the injuries. And I think Tobago would do well to, just like how Tobago says we want to be the best little island on the planet, I would say, you know, take that a step further and be the best animal welfare point in the region. Some people would see success as awards and, you know, big donations and this kind of stuff. I have won some animal-related awards. That is the, in 2018, I got the Angostura. I was one of the Angostura champions for my work in animal welfare and animal rescue in Tobago. And also in 2018, a short film I had done featuring Venus and Magnet, two of my rescues, won the best TT short film. So I see those as successes for the animals in terms of, not for me, but for bringing recognition for animals through the media. But for me, the real successes are that every single rescue that we have picked up from the streets has gone to a very loving home. And that is the aim. That is the aim. Venus Daughters of Love just before COVID hit, we built Canine Cottage, which is a 20 by 8 foot rustic facility with a fenced run. We had built that for a street dog that we picked up. She had mange and she couldn't go to the animal shelter because it was contagious. And so we built that for her, and she had 6 pups. So that kind of started this facility, Canine Cottage, and then later on we built Puppy Palace, which is short for Puppingham Palace. And that's where we keep our rescues. They fit 2 at a time, so it's just simple rustic facilities with fenced runs because we don't like the animals to be chained or boxed in a kennel. So they have their shelter, but they could also run if they want. And then the area where those are located, it's quite quiet, so we can take them for walks and stuff. It is important to protect the rights of women and girls, whether online or offline, but seeing that online life has become such a focus for so many people, and we're not just talking about young girls, but also women. So many people now are becoming more insular, and the internet becomes their world. And therefore, that world where a woman may be abused, attacked, so many things happen to women as a vulnerable group. Just like animals. I mean, animals are abused all the time. Women face a similar thing, and any way in which we can protect is important. Online, definitely. A lot of women can use that as an opportunity to advance themselves, yet at the same time they may be vulnerable. In 2012, I went to India with I went as a filmmaker, and I went with another filmmaker and a choreographer, and we worked with young girls and young women who are survivors of sex trafficking. We were in Calcutta. And one of the girls, she looked like a little girl, but she was about 17 at the time. And somehow I felt drawn to her, and vice versa, even though we didn't speak the same language. And when I was leaving, everything in India is a lot cheaper. So we are very rich with the money that we have. And I left some money with the people at the dance school. They were in a dance therapy school. And I said, I wanted to learn to speak English, to use this money to let her speak English, and to also become a dance therapist, which she wanted to be, and also to learn the computer, because I saw so much promise in her, and that with that computer, she's based there in Calcutta. Maybe she might never leave, but through the computer and through what she could do with it, she could actually reach the entire world. But I must say, in light of this theme that has been brought to us via International Women's Day, I look back on that story and that opportunity that she could have gained through that, or that she did gain, and I see another side of it where the opportunity and the possibility of vulnerability exist in the same thing, and to expose, they talk about the socioeconomic aspects that the digital world can affect. It's either you can or you can't, because you can't afford it. But then when you do afford it, what else comes into your world that was never there before? So for that reason, it struck me that yes, this is something that, just thinking of a personal example, I would want somebody like her to be protected. I don't believe in just celebrating a day, but I recognize the importance of, for example, with this day, the way that they would put a theme to it. I think the theme makes us think. Like, I was not thinking about, I know the theme is DigitALL, A-L-L. I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about, women need to be protected. I mean, I know certain things exist, certain dangers, but I wasn't thinking about them consciously in that way. And I think that's the importance of it. If it brings a theme to us that we could think about and focus on and probably help out with, I think that's the use of it from my perspective.
The Office of the Parliament celebrates International Women's Day 2023. DigitALL, innovation and technology for gender equality.